Hello everybody, welcome back to Clear Surf Financial Education. Carl Keister here. So today I wanted to discuss a little bit about where I see the market going since it's been kind of flat lately. And I want to talk about what the historical returns are for the S&P. You might hear more and more about this now that we have a new president coming in and we're flipping from a Republican to a Democrat. What does that mean for your retirement? What does that mean for your money? Also, in the second part of this video, I'm going to talk about individual stocks, which I don't do a whole lot of, but I've been watching some of these individual stocks I think you might want to pay attention to, and I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 individual stocks I think you should pay attention to that have been on an absolute tear, and sooner or later they're going to pull back, or they're going to have a pullback in the market, or they will pull back individually because they just can't keep going up forever. So anyway, with that being said, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you don't mind, that definitely helps my channel. And I need that help in order to grow my subscribers. So, as I mentioned earlier, so what happens when you have a Republican president who is removed, now we have a Democrat president come in? What does that generally mean? I did a little research here, and I'll let you in on this. I went back on this one piece. Now, these statistics go back to Calvin Coolidge. You're going back to 1926 Depression era times that Coolidge was in there and the market went higher as a Republican. And then we have some years that we've got Democrats in there like Roosevelt and Truman, where the market went higher. So the point is, you can kind of see that through these years, it didn't really matter if it was Republican or Democrat. The country's moving forward. People are out there trying to make money, trying to grow companies, and by doing so, the market, the rising tide raises all boats. So it didn't really matter who was in there. So I have another piece here, it's a little bit more current, which is a Forbes article. This goes back to 1945 through 2020. So that's 75 years of history. And this shows the S&P with a split Congress averaged 8.6. Unified Congress 7.4. Unified government 9.6. So you can see anywhere from 7.4 to 9.6, but the average since the Depression has been around 10%. So it just goes to show you it doesn't matter what technology is taking place. If people are moving to the industrialized worlds or we're shipping jobs overseas, the market seems to want to go higher, and it's based on the fact that things change. I mean, people stop using horse and buggy to buy cars. Now you're starting to see a conversion where electric vehicles are starting to take a heavier position in the market. And that's a couple of stocks I'm going to talk about later that have done really well, and I think they're going to continue doing well because you're going to get to the point where Tesla's come out of the vehicle that's roughly around $35,000. There's talk of building one closer to $25,000. That's going to be their goal, and you're getting in that price range now. I saw this morning the average cost of a new vehicle right now is $40,000. So Tesla's got a car, a lower end car, the cheapest on their line, basically is $35,000, $37,000. So now you're getting that break-even point where, yes, it's not an SUV or a pickup truck, but it's a car that's an electric vehicle, no oil changes, no maintenances, these kind of things. And so when you're starting to get to that point where someone can consider electric vehicle, whether they're worried about the environment or not, it becomes an issue of cost. When you think about the money they're going to save on all the maintenance items they don't have to deal with, not to mention it's quieter, more efficient. And so I think you're going to see a tipping point there pretty soon. So there's something to keep in mind. Also, I mentioned in other video, my last video on Tuesday, you might want to check that one out. I mentioned that I think we're going to see a pullback here sometime soon because we have these big tech companies that have just been on a tear. Amazon's doubled since March. Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, these stocks have just all been on a tear. But what you're starting to see now is you're starting to see more overseas European governments that are bringing up lawsuits against Facebook and Google. So I think as regulation takes more of a front stage in Europe, it's also going to happen here. I don't see it happening in the next week, but when Trump is out of office, maybe when these tech companies start picking and choosing people in the Democratic Party that they don't want to be able to speak to the public, they may change their tune, and we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, so the market has been churning around here now for the last several days, but one thing you want to keep in mind, a couple of things I've noticed. The energy sector is number one, first of all. We're 13 days in, it's up 10%. And if you've noticed, the 10-year treasury has been going up. So as yields go up on the bonds, the prices go down. So you're also starting to see like 1 to 5% negative returns in the first 2 weeks of the year on some of these bonds because yield's going up. But what you're also starting to see is because now that Biden's going in, he had a big push from the left as far as clean energy. Some of these car makers are going through the roof. I mean, Tesla's up, 650%. NIO is another stock we're going to talk about, which is a Chinese car company. You could have bought this below $3, and now it's trading today at $62 in March. Now that is a Chinese company, so it's traded on our stock exchange, but just so you know, it's a Chinese company, so trusting the financials really can't be done because they don't audit like we do. And also the Chinese government put $1 billion into that company a year or two ago and it was having trouble. So without that investment, it might not be in existence today, but it survived because China wants to do something with the car situation over there because they have some of the worst pollution in the world. And so electric cars makes a lot of sense. And of course, we're trying to reduce pollution here as well. So again, electric cars getting attention, price range are getting to that point where people might be, the average person might be able to afford it, especially if you're going out and buying a new car now at $30,000, $40,000. You're in that spot now. You can get into a Tesla, believe it or not just for the wealthy anymore. Now they've got that new line. So anyway, let's jump into some of these stocks. I did mention I want to talk about those. And NIO is one of them, ticker symbol NIO. Yeah, this stock back in March, $2.15 on March 23rd. Now it's trading for $62. Just unbelievable. You would not think either. You think about Tesla, I mentioned 650%, but what you might not think about is GM. GM is starting to make a big push. This was one of the largest automotive companies in the world, and they've been taking on the chin, just watching Tesla go by leaps and bounds. But now I just want to pull up a quick chart here. This back in March tanked down to $14, and now it's at 48. So less than a year, GM's gone from 14 to 48. And the reason is they're talking about vans and vehicles in this country. So more or less your delivery vehicles and those type of things, GM's trying to take an angle to get that electric vehicle business. And if that happens, that could definitely be what kickstarts them into people starting to look at more GM products, not just Tesla and then of course Chinese companies. So Tesla, NIO, two stocks have been going through the roof. GM, did not think about that until I started doing this research, to be honest with you. But another one was Nikola. That stock was a $10 stock, went to 25. And then also you have Lordstown Motors, which is Lordstown Motor was a $10 stock, now 26. So these are some of these stocks, if you're a person who has a small account somewhere on the side that you wanted to invest some money in, or if you didn't need your stimulus check and you want to put that money to work and you want to pick something that you think might grow, these are the kind of stocks you want to think about. Now, the other one I'm going to look at too is Penn National. And Penn National, I am from Pennsylvania originally, and this one really, really chaps me that I didn't go after this one because I had watched it when it was a lot lower. Of course, during March, this was a $4 stock. You could have bought a $4 stock during the lockdown in March when no one could go to a casino. Nobody was betting on gambling. And yes, this is a $4 stock that now today just hit a 52-week high of $104. You heard me right. A $4 stock is worth $104. Simple math. March, buying 1,000 shares for $4,000, you're sitting on a $100,000 gain. Just astronomical. Anybody can look in the mirror and tell you what had happened in the past. I bring this up because I think we're going to see some type of pullback here, whether it be in this month when the transition happens, or if it's going to be in the first quarter. I just don't think we're going to continue going into the new year, new president. There are definitely going to be some new regulations, and these things are going to keep on going higher. But that being said, keep your eye out for a pullback on some of these stocks, because electric cars are the way to go. And I think as far as gambling and the medical marijuana and maybe even recreational marijuana, all these things are going to get probably more likely to be passed under this Democratic House and Senate and President. So these stocks that were really high flyers at one time that pulled way back, some of them back to where they started a year or so ago, have been on a tear because of what's going on. So, okay, that's it. I just want to let you know there are some stocks out there. But again, you know me, most of my clients, most people I talk to are looking at retirement positions. You want to stay long term. That's why I brought up earlier on. Don't be worried about which president, Democrat, or Republican has control, because over the long term, if you've got 5 or 10 years, I believe the market's going to be higher. I believe that it doesn't matter who's in office, there'll be enough of the independents or the Democrats, Republicans who will switch sides to get something they want, to block things so there just won't be a complete blue landslide changing the landscape of the country. So with that being said, again, please like and subscribe, and I appreciate it. And remember, your opinion is not the only one out there. So be kind. Till next time, take care.